without further ado, let's just get right into the stream because today we've got a very, very special guest. You guys can pull up the information on her by typing in !guest or using her first name !Charmi. Yes, her name is Charmi with the hard CH. I want you guys to give it up for our guest today. Her name is Charmi Peña, all the way from the East Coast, one of Nikon's ambassadors. She's a wedding photographer, recognized published photographer, just all around awesome person. Can't wait for you guys to meet her. Let's go ahead and bring her on, please. Guys, give it up for Charmi. There she is. I'm so glad that you're here. So glad that you're here.
Thanks for having me.
You know, we did have a talk, guys. Academy, I did get to hang out with Charmi for a bit a couple days ago. Yeah, they're all saying you're so sweet. I told you guys, you're gonna love her. She's so great. But instead of me introducing Charmi, why don't you go ahead and talk a little about yourself, who you are, what you're doing here, what do you do for work, all that good stuff.
So I am a wedding photographer and a Nikon ambassador. I live in Princeton, New Jersey. I have 2 boys and my husband, who may run in here at any time. I just have to warn you, because you know, it's 2020 and that's what happens when you're on streaming stuff with your family right behind you.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. You want to hear about how it started?
Yeah. Why don't you? Well, let's just dive right into it. So, you're a wedding photographer. You specialize in Indian and Southeast weddings. I've got a bunch of your work to show on one of our super high-tech PowerPoints. But take us all the way back. Where did it start for you in photography?
So I was a double major. I majored in economics and information technology, like a good little Indian daughter. And then I had some options, and all of the options were in cubicles that had no windows. And I'm just really not a cubicles window person. So that was a hard pass for me. My parents were super stressed out that I was refusing to use both of my degrees. And on my wedding day, my husband gave me a camera, which I shoved in the back of my closet because I'm like, I don't know how to use it.
On your wedding day?
Yeah. And then I was job hunting, and in all that job hunting, I never found anything I liked. And I was being like the worst wife. I'm not meant to be a stay-at-home anything because I was so bored that I would harass my husband, and he'd be like, yo, somebody has to make money, so I gotta go to work. So he bought me Brian Peterson's Understanding Exposure, and I learned how to use my camera, and that literally just turned into, I took pictures of a baby, and then that turned into pictures of another baby, which turned into, there was this woman, her name's Kaylin. She came to me and was like, I saw the pictures you take of babies, you're gonna shoot my wedding. I'm like, no, I'm not. Weddings. And she insisted. She was like, no, you're going to shoot my wedding. And I'm going to pay you to do it. And she did. And it was published in The Knot, and then everything just went.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how long did you use The Knot for? A long time? Are you still using them?
No, I never advertised with The Knot.
Oh, really?
It was just that first wedding that got published. I didn't even submit them. Kaylin submitted them.
Wow. That's really cool. The Knot's awful. I used The Knot for like a year. Out here in Hawaii, it was weird. The Wedding Wire did so much better for me than The Knot, but I've got off of them. I'm kind of working on my own SEO website stuff, but I know there's quite a few people who've used The Knot and stuff like that. So you've never used them. You've never used any type of advertising. It's just straight you.
Listed on South Asian Bride because I really love the editor and I love that she's picky, so I'm listed there. But no, I've never really depended on advertising. I've always depended on word of mouth and the client experience. And so I hope that with every wedding I'm shooting, I'm turning them into little Charmi evangelists, so they go out and force everybody else to use my services. Yeah,
that's good. All right, so when was the year when you finally like flipped that switch and you were like, Cause was there like a period of time where you weren't sure if you were like a photographer yet, and then like there was a moment where like that switched, and then you kind of finally were convinced you are this wedding photographer? Did you have a moment like that?
I think that, so 2006 is when I picked up a camera, and I want to say that all the way through 2006, maybe into 2007, I was like hesitant to describe myself as a photographer, especially because at the time, and maybe even now, everyone described themselves as a photographer. And there was like one popping up of the woodwork everywhere. And I would say, I'm a photographer. And somebody would be like, my sister's a photographer, and my aunt's a photographer, and my uncle's a photographer. And I was like, all right, well, maybe I'm not. Like, if we're all photographers, maybe none of us are.
Wow.
So I had a hard time then kind of believing my own hype. And then I think once weddings really took off, then I was like, okay, I mean, I guess I really am a photographer. People pay me to do this. So
2006 was when I graduated high school.
Stop.
Well, I never took photography in high school or anything like that. And it wasn't until 2012 that I bought this. This was my very first camera. This is the Nikon D5100. And I bought this at Sears on layaway. And so about 6 years after you got yours, I felt like photography was still kind of new, but it's really interesting that you say like even back then, everyone's just like, I'm a photographer, because in 2012, that's kind of when Instagram was taking off. And then do you remember when like we all had this realization that we can upload our professional photos to Instagram, or like your GoPro underwater shots? And then that's when really everyone started, I don't know, at least I remember like, oh yeah, you do photography? No way, so not to point out age or anything like that, but just to show like, man, there's so much like time progression. What were you doing in 2012?
I was having a baby.
You're having a baby?
I had a baby September 2012, and I shot all my weddings very, very, very pregnant. I shot my last wedding 6 days before he was born. That wedding, somebody asked me to, the bride had purchased socks for the groomsmen and the groom, and they all forgot to tell anybody. And at the very end of the night, I was 27 years pregnant, and they were like, we really need a picture of these socks. So like an idiot, I laid down on the ground and I was like, pull up your sock, like pull your pant leg, let me take a picture of the socks.
You laid down stomach down?
No, I was on my
side. Okay.
And then I was like, all right, now I live here, so you all can go home. I'm not getting up.
Yeah, your second shooter helping you up. Part of the job description.
My husband second shot for me for many years, and he was present, cool. And I brought 2 extra people with me because I was like, what if I go into labor while I'm shooting the wedding? I'm gonna have to go, so I brought extra staff with me. Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. So when did you first start getting in contact with Nikon, and when did they start getting interested in you?
So there may have been a camera brand switch in my history.
Oh.
And, when I switched to the D750s. And at the time, like I was learning a new system in the middle of wedding season. But what happened is one of my second shooters, his name is Dave Shea. He handed me a camera on the dance floor because I was always complaining about like my camera hunting on the dance floor. And he's like, try my D750. So I tried and literally like didn't miss a shot the entire night.
Wow.
And then went home the next morning and was like, okay, I'm switching brands. It's over.
What do you mind saying what brand that was before, or what camera brand you had before?
It was not Nikon.
All right. Well, there you go, guys. D750. We have a couple people with the D750 in here. I've always heard that's a great camera. Even now, D750 is pretty solid. Do you still use it?
I do not. So the
No.
D750, I think it's still like one of the most magic cameras ever, 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 ever.
Yeah.
Even now, I'm like, I have 4 and I haven't been able to sell them just because I can't part with them. Like, you know how you're supposed to sell your gear when you move on, and I just can't do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
This one fell into the ocean, and I just can't bring myself to throw it away. It's my paperweights. But it's like, I don't know, it's like that memorial, that milestone or something.
can't let it go. So no, so I went from the D750 to the D850, but then I went to the Z6. I did not intend to use the Z6 for weddings because I was nervous about the single card slot, and I've just been so spoiled with 2. But 2 things happened. One, I did bring the Z along just so that I could shoot portraits, but then I liked the file so much that I would always reach for the Z. So then I was like, you're just reaching for the Z anyway. Just shoot Z all day. So I did. And then this year with micro weddings and masks and shields, it's great to shoot mirrorless and have my camera not against my face.
Wow,
so
that's huge.
Yeah. It was a game changer for me to keep things safe this year. So so now I'm on Z6s and I'll be on Z6 IIs any minute now.
Yeah. How was your transition to mirrorless?
Really, really easy, I think, because the Z6 is really not, it still feels like a Nikon. Everything is where you kind of expect it to be. And so I didn't feel the biggest change is getting used to the EVF and feeling like, confession. I totally feel like I'm cheating sometimes when I'm using the EVF. I'm like, it's telling me everything.
Yeah.
White balance is perfect. My exposure is perfect. I mean, not that I like don't know how to do that stuff otherwise, but I felt like this preview was cheating almost.
Yeah.
But
that was one of the big things for me that I had to get used to. Like when I was working at Sears, I remember the Sonys came out with their NEX mirrorless cameras, and I was like, I hate this so much. Like I'm so used to the optical, like this is just so weird. Plus Sony's menus are so different. But I just kind of wrote off mirrorless, and I just never thought really to get into them. And then I don't know what happened. It was either being connected with Michelle, who I kind of shared to you. She's the musician photographer in Australia, and she connected me. And then Jeff was like, "Hey, we're gonna send you the Z50." So, but once I got into live streaming, that's when I really started getting interested into mirrorless cameras, because that video that you just saw, the crazy weird of me singing The Greatest Show, all those like little highlights that you saw, those clips, a lot of them I used to do intro videos every day for my stream, and I used to like record myself brushing my teeth, putting my man bun up, like all that stuff. And I had the D4S, and the thing's heavy as heck. It doesn't have an articulating screen. It's super cumbersome, and I had to get like one of those big like off-camera monitors to like flip towards me. It was just so humbug, I guess is the word. And then once I got this little guy, the Z50, and I can like shoot in 4K, I can flip the screen down. It's so easy to see all the settings and everything right there on the screen. The EVF, like it makes my world so much easier. And I've been able to use it on a couple occasions. Every day we go to the park, I always bring it along with me because it's so small, easy to carry, lightweight. I was going to shoot a wedding with it, but I forgot the battery in the charger. Super rookie mistake. So, but yeah, the Z50 has been pretty great. You're actually streaming with the Z50 right now, or that's your camera? Oh, not this time.
Normally I do, but my husband, so this is my desk, or it used to be my desk. And then the pandemic happened and my husband stole it from me. And so he had meetings until like the very last minute, and he was supposed to be done at 10 so I could set up. And at 10:50, I think you heard me yelling. I was like, you're not in a meeting until 10:50.
Yeah.
So it's just
all good.
But normally, I try to stream with the Z50.
Did you get any playtime with the Z7 versus the Z6?
I have a Z7, but I did not get to use the Z7 II. Somebody asked why the Z6 over the Z7.
Yeah.
For me, it's I do not need files that are as big as Z7. That's one. And Z6 has better low light performance. And for wedding photographers, I think low light performance is like bread and butter. You need that. So Z6 all the way for me.
Yeah, the Nikon cameras, like just from whenever I've used any other type, like my friend had a Sony Mirrorless, and we were doing shooting in like a low lighting setting for like a band, and it was like super dark, and you could just tell like the Nikon's low light ability to capture is just so good. It's so good. I haven't used the Z6 yet. I'm really looking forward to it. But the Z6 II, you've had your hands on it for how long?
Well, I only got to use it for the one day. I shot the campaign for the Z6 II. So if you go to the Z6 II website and you see photos of a lovely Indian couple in Indian clothing, like it's their wedding, that is my stuff from the Z6 campaign. And you know, it's very similar to the Z6. It just has a lot of improved capabilities, and I really like there's wide area eye focus now, which I'm a really big fan of, because you can pick kind of which. That's mine right there.
This right here? This your hand?
No. If you go back
we
up,
scrolled it. Okay, I forgot you're delayed. Okay.
I'm a little delayed, yeah. If you go up a little bit, there's an Indian woman.
I saw this on your Instagram.
Yeah. There's everything of her is her and him is me. So that's actually the wide area of focus. That's, you know, you can decide, like, am I going to use her eye or his eye? Otherwise, it just kind of picks the eye. So think about it. If you have a bride coming down the aisle and you're using eye focus, sometimes it'll grab like the auntie with the pink iPad's eye because it's closer to you. But now I can give it a zone and be like, that zone that the bride and her dad are in, like that's
that's sick. That is sick. I didn't know that. I've watched really video, all that stuff, but wow, that's really cool. Give it a zone. All right. I'm gonna pull up the PowerPoint now, and it's gonna show some of the work that you have sent us. Let me switch over real quick. What is your go-to stuff? Your go-to wedding kit?
So I'm a prime shooter, and all day I shoot 35-85, and then I will
35-85.
Yep, 35 on one camera, 85 on the other, and then sometimes for dance floor I will take out my 24, and that's kind of all I need. I do have a macro, but I might replace the macro with the new 70-200, because the way that I use my macro, the new 70-200 will probably do the same thing because of the close focusing distance.
Yeah.
You'll see, I think I put one in here maybe.
Cool. I have the 35 1.4. I bought it used off Amazon. It's like mint condition, really nice. But the 85 is like one that I definitely want to try and get my hands on. So you shoot with the 85 1.4.
85 1.8 because 1.8? I'm on. I like using all native stuff. So
me too.
For my Z's, I'm just using the S-line lenses.
Wow. How have those lenses been?
Amazing. It's ridiculous how sharp they are, to the point where sometimes I'm like, let's decrease the sharpness just like
That's something you had to get used to.
Yeah, it's definitely something you get used to, but at the same time it's so good. It's hey.
Whoopsies. Sorry, stream. I took you away. They're like, why? Are we not allowed to see her anymore? Okay. There we go.
Oh, hey.
All right. But I like your style. I only roll to a wedding with the 35 and the 105, and then I usually keep my 50 in the car if I need it, but I like having like the huge, you know, like the big gap in the differences, but both are able to get like really good, beautiful shots.
You want to hear the story of why I even have a 24?
Let's go. Do it.
So I was shooting a wedding in New Zealand last December, and I had my 35 and my 85, and for some reason I had a 50, and I don't even think it was my 50, but I had the 50 in my house. I have no idea how it got here, but I had my cameras out. I was packing up the night before, and I was exhausted, and I was like, why are we taking this 50? We don't need it. And so I gave a lens to my husband. Oh, I've been shooting food lately, FYI. I got bored.
Beautiful shots. So beautiful.
So I gave my husband a lens, and I was like, we're not taking the 50, put the 50 back. Then I get on the plane, and I'm like, oh, I want to take pictures on the plane. I take out my camera, and it's got a 50 on it. The other camera has an 85 on it, and I'm going to New Zealand, and I don't have a wide lens.
Oh no.
So it was a little bit dramatic, but there was a lot of yeah. Womp womp is exactly how I felt, except I have this really good friend, Susan Stripling, who so I was going to Sydney before I was going to New Zealand, and she called everybody she knows in Sydney so that I could purchase a lens from the plane. I gave them my credit card, and they sent somebody to bring it to me during my layover. So I grabbed it during my layover and then went to New Zealand and shot the wedding with the 24.
Wow. That's
they didn't have it.
That's so cool.
I was going to buy another 35, but they didn't have stock, so I bought a 24. And
you've been loving it ever since.
Yeah, it's good. You know, like these new lenses, they're sharp edge to edge. I don't have to worry about their sweet spot as much, you know? And yeah, I'm happy. That one with the, this photo on the street is not technically very public yet. It'll be in Elle India November issue. That Nina Davulari, she's a former Miss America. She was the first Indian Miss America, and she got a lot of nonsense because she has darker skin. So she just put together a documentary about colorism. And so this hers will be in Elle India in November, and it coincides with the release of her documentary about colorism.
Man, guys, chat, you guys are so privileged and so lucky to be here today. Seriously, to be able to see all this work, some of it very new and not out there published or anything yet. You guys are getting the sneak peeks. This photo is really, really beautiful. Was this what lens was this shot with?
That was with the 35.
The 35.
Yeah, it was with the 35, and I had a strip light on the left and a giant softbox for a key light on the right, and I had Westcott lights. Westcott, I'm really good friends with JC Carey, who's one of their reps, and he offered to come out and help me light. So he came and helped me light that day. Wow. So we were like running into the street during red lights and back out during green lights and trying not to get run over. So for the weddings, you shared your kit with us. Do you bring a bunch of lights, like off-camera flash, all that good stuff? Yeah, I mean, I believe in always being prepared. So I always have a full set of speed lights and some strobes and some video lights. I have everything you could need in my bag. You will never catch me off guard, but I don't necessarily use all of it all the time. It really depends. I let the ambiance of the event and, you know, just what's happening dictate how I use light. Yeah. And so over the years of shooting, now you're shooting with the Z cameras, before with the DSLRs, have you noticed your low light capability at weddings get easier with these new cameras that, like, I don't need flash right now, like versus like 5, 6, 7 years ago? Well, I would say even 5, 6 years ago, the D750 really made life so much easier in general. I think you still need some sort of flash for the way that I want to shoot receptions, just because I feel like I'm shooting kind of in mosh pits. Indian receptions are mosh pits, and they even
I
have
would love to experience one of these days.
it's fun. So I think you still need something, but that rainbow is real. Can you believe it?
Wow, that's crazy.
Wild. It was raining like all day. It was so frustrating, but then we ended up with a rainbow. So so we were all happy. We're like, I guess the rain was worth it.
Wow. And this was during a wedding reception?
No. So everything you're seeing here is from weddings from this year. And so weddings from this year, none of my weddings have had a reception. They've all just been having weddings and then portraits, and then I go home.
Wow. Okay. Well, good thing on the timing on this rainbow. I've only shot one. I've shot an engagement. I was at the beginning of this year, and there was a rainbow in the background too, and it was such like a special moment. I was just like, "Holy crap, it's happening! We gotta capture this! We gotta capture this!" And so I can imagine your excitement. Do rainbows happen a lot where you are?
No, they don't. So what's crazy is that this is not what I meant to be shooting. The sky was legitimately like split in half, where half of it was still like dark clouds, like angry. And then on the other half, it had finally cleared up. And so sunset was on that other side.
Oh,
and so
my
I was
goodness.
actually shooting them with the sunset, which was like pink and orange and beautiful. It's a little bit different kind of mosh pit. I'm reading the comments.
My mom just jumped in.
And then I saw a rainbow, and then we turned around for that. Somebody said something about, did I mean missing focus or missing shots completely? Focus, definitely just focus.
Yeah. Awesome. So let me continue to scroll through these images here. So now you've shot the wedding, we know the lenses that you have, the lighting that you bring. What's your workflow after you come inside, you drop the keys down, you bring your bags in? What's next?
Sorry, somebody asked. It was a 45 millimeter tilt shift. Yes, you're right. Sorry. I also have that in my bag.
Wow. I should have asked about it, because I was thinking you did this post, but thank you, Alamo, for stopping us.
Remember, I don't like Photoshop. Sorry.
Yes, you did tell me that. That's what we're about to get into.
I like for everything to be done in camera whenever possible. So yeah, this is a 45 tilt shift. I will tell you, somebody earlier said, why do we need everything to, we need everything to be hard? So I'm going to confess something. I feel like we do need everything to be hard, or we feel like we didn't achieve it for some reason. But the 45 tilt shift, when you put it on a mirrorless, it's giving you all the information you need about what your frame is going to look like. And it's just so much easier to use. I do use Lightroom. Everything you're seeing was edited in Lightroom.
How long have you been using the program for?
I don't know. Ever since I left Bridge, I used to edit Bridge, which was
Does
ridiculous.
anyone still edit in Bridge in chat? Speak up right now. Mods, get ready to ban. Okay. Just kidding.
Wait, you were asking me something else before that I totally got off track.
What is your workflow like?
Oh, workflow. Okay. So I'm crazy. Even if I'm shooting an Indian wedding where I start at 6 a.m. and I finish at 10 p.m., I call my weddings the same day I shoot them, period.
Wow. What if you get home like at 10 p.m.?
Yeah, I don't care. I'll be done by 12. Yeah. I offload all my photos. It's part of the reason that I like XQDs now, because files just come right off them super quick.
Yeah.
And then I cull in reverse. I use Photo Mechanic. And I start with the last frame I took, because generally if you look at my contact sheet, you see that I shoot in series a lot. And so I know that my keeper is going to be towards the end of any given series. So I shoot I cull in reverse. I start at the last shot of the day, exactly. And then I go backwards. And it doesn't matter if I shot 10,000 frames that day between two shooters and 16 hours of shooting. I'll be done. I'll be done by midnight. And
what's your average? What's your average shots per 8-hour wedding?
If there's two of us, I'm gonna say somewhere between 7,000 and 9,000.
Ha! Sucker guy. All right. So I've been getting heat a lot from the chat because I just cold through a wedding that had 5,000 shots. Everyone's like, "Whoa, you took way too much." I've never shot 9,000 frames, especially between two shooters. That's crazy.
Well, this is why looking at somebody's contact sheet is really important, though, right? If they tell you they shoot 9,000 frames, and then you look at a contact sheet and it looks like they're chasing squirrels, like one shot's over here and one shot's over there, that's spraying and praying. But this is like very, very, very intentional. One, I will see my frame and pre-visualize it well before it happens. I will pick my position, I will sit there, and then I will wait. And once someone enters my frame, I will shoot through till they leave my frame. Is there a possibility that I can get everything I need without that? Yes. And there are times where I shoot less because there's just less action. But at an Indian wedding, if you look at my ceremony pictures, there's far fewer. But if you look at the barat, which is like the groom coming in, if you look at the dance floor, if you look at my portraits, there's only one photo each or maybe two so that I can account for blinked eyes. But when there's massive action or a shot like this, even like where like the confetti's everywhere, I probably took 30 of those so that I could get the one where all four eyes not covered. It's very there was like two of those, like it matters what you're shooting.
On this shot with the confetti, did you set your focus manually before you shot?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was before.
Imagine catching that with autofocus. Crazy.
that would I would say it's really easy because there's only one that is everything. Look, let's say I shot 30 frames of the confetti photo. There's really only, they're asking like, how do you pick? If I shot this one, I had to shoot, if you go back to where there's a bouquet over their head.
Yes.
I had to shoot like 50 of those, but there's only one where the bouquet's over their head. So it's like really easy to choose. Yeah. But when you're throwing a bouquet and you're trying to catch it, it's, you're only, I am not ever going to pretend that like I got the bouquet on the first shot. I only had to take one and it was right over their heads. That's a lie. Yeah. And how long do I use for picking the photos? I'm telling you that I cull the day of the wedding. That's it. So 2 hours, I'm done by midnight. I've culled and I have uploaded to my editor most of the time.
Wow, that is Pog. That is awesome. So, what was I gonna ask? So continuing on that thought, because we've come out of, we're saying we've come out of, but I remember when I got into photography, looking at forums, and how important film is to photography. And if you're a new photographer, film is a great way to get exposed to exposure, ISO, aperture, film rolls, being selective with your shots. But for someone getting into photography now, like picking up a mirrorless camera and knowing Lightroom from the get-go, versus like me in high school, I've never even stepped foot in a darkroom for me, but people in the past, or older generations, me, they're in the dark room, and so they kind of give dirty rubs to people about spraying and praying and stuff like that, and being one of those shoot and share kind of people. But that's kind of the way it is. Like, you have these tools that you have the ability to catch every single moment. Like, I've shot enough weddings to understand, like, I don't want to go home and regret not getting a shot. I have these huge SD cards and compact flash cards that I can take thousands of images. Like, why would you not?
Well,
I don't know.
You also have to be careful, right? You don't want to waste time. So just shooting thousands of images for the sake of shooting thousands of images, you're just increasing your work on the tail end. So one of the reasons that I can go through that many images that quickly, one, also SSD, yes, all the way, because my load time. Awesome. But there's no reason to increase your work for no reason. Like the times that I'm shooting that many frames and keeping in mind that I'm shooting for 16 hours straight, I am doing it very intentionally, and there's only one keeper to keep. So you should be able to, I'm also ruthless. Like when I look through my own images, I'm like, all of these suck. And there's one good one.
That's good.
And all of these suck. And then there's one good one. So
do you delete them?
Well, I call in versus out. So I only pick the keepers. I never look at the rejects ever again. I move the keepers into a separate keeper. And I don't second guess myself. I'm definitely not the person who goes back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah.
Either it's good and worth keeping, or it's not. And so being really ruthless with yourself is super, super helpful. You know, when I'm shooting an engagement session, I will probably shoot 250 frames and keep 120 of them. So it's just different things for different purposes. And then something I realized probably after I started shooting like this, I took a workshop called Foundation, and it was really a photojournalism workshop, not a wedding workshop. And that's kind of where I learned this thought process of like, pick your frame, wait, you know, see how things move through your frame. There I learned that like National Geographic photographers, they're shooting one image for a cover, right? Literally shoot thousands of frames because they can't control the action. Like they know what they want.
Yeah.
They shoot and wait and shoot and wait and shoot and wait, right? So yeah, I don't feel guilty about shooting a lot at all. It's very intentional, and it ends up with what I want. So.
All right.
Yeah.
So you've culled 9,000 images, and then do you edit, or you push it on to an editor?
So I'll edit a whole bunch of my images. I'll say like 60 to 70 first, so that they have a sense of what I want. And then I'll send them to my company. I use a company called Lavaloo.
Okay.
They know exactly what I want because we've kind of worked together to get them there. And they will do the bulk of my editing. There was one year where I had 31 weddings, and it was before I was able to allow myself to send to an editor, because sending to an editor is a really stressful 31 weddings. Yeah. Indian weddings that were like 4 days each. So it was actually all shooting days. But that year I was like, how am I going to survive this 31 wedding stuff? So I called same day, and then I would edit on Monday. I never even get to eat the pakore. Nobody, I'm always shooting when they're having the samosa. I know, it's mean. Somebody should bring me. Yeah. So I that year I would send the kids to school, and I would spend all day editing, and then I would be done by the end of the day and then export. And so by Tuesday, their photos would be done, but I wouldn't deliver them to them by Tuesday because I didn't want them to know they were done that quickly.
Yeah.
So I would wait until Friday to deliver the photos.
Good. So you edit up to about 70 photos, 60 to 70 photos, and then you work with an editor and then a company, and then you'll get them back. And then out of those 9,000 images, how many would you deliver?
Probably somewhere in the 1,400 to 1,800 range. It depends on the day, how many events, how many people. You guys are making me very hungry. I have too much to do today. I'm not even going to be able to eat a lot.
She's shooting a wedding today, guys. She's shooting a wedding after this. Crazy.
It is a large number to deliver, but I'm also shooting sometimes weddings that have like 600 people, and I won't deliver anything that makes me look bad at all, but I will make sure that I, get a decent amount of guests that are partying, and there's like 3 dance floors in the day. Wow. So there's the morning dance floor with the groom and his family, and then there's the reception dance floor, and then there's some stuff in between. It's a lot.
All right, so presets.
So for the most part, I use my own preset that I've developed over many years, but there are times that I'm trying to shoot things a little differently because I do commercial work and I do, like you saw, I shoot a little food now. And so sometimes what I have set up is just really not the right fit for that event or moment wedding. So my go-to for then is develop presets. DVLOP. They just have so much variety, and what I really like is Jide Alakija's set. They are really, really well tuned for people of color, and so so I think it's important that, like, you know, people who are creating presets think about that kind of stuff. That not everybody we're going to be editing it has the exact same skin tone, and so we want to make sure that we're flattering for everybody. And so, when I'm not using my own preset, I will use a develop preset. Okay. And thank you for praying that I get some food. I would really like that.
Okay. There was a question that was up in the chat earlier. Someone asked you, how many shots would you roughly estimate that you've done with the Z6?
Oh God. I don't know.
Does it have an in-camera shutter count?
I don't think it does.
Oh, okay. Well, if you can't find it, no worries about hunt for it. Just had a curiosity.
This is my Z7, and it has a 45 script on it, but I don't think it has. I don't think it has the in-camera shutter count. So
okay. All right. Well, maybe we can move on to the photos that I sent you.
See, this is what I'm saying. I specifically haven't purchased certain presets by certain companies because they are notorious for being ugly as fuck on people. This is like, that's the thing. So I appreciate that company for thinking about those things.
And it was DEVLOP or DVLOP?
DVLOP. Yeah, not I think. It definitely is just DVLOP.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Allison. Linked it in the chat. All right.
They also have like this light and airy set that is, wow, I just forgot his name. So rude. They have a light and airy set that's like very on point with Jose Villa's work, and they have a lot of options, and they really think about what they're putting out there.
Okay.
Oh my God, are we doing the photos of yours that I edited?
Yes. And so this is something that, you know, we like doing here on the stream. And chat, I was really excited that Charmi agreed to do this because I know she's so busy and stuff. And then, I got 5 images to do in the middle of the night. Or you probably did them this morning or something.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Professor A. Yeah. So what we'll do is I will show you the edit that I did. And then I will bring yours on, and then we'll kind of compare them both. Bearing in mind, right, okay, Charmi did not shoot these weddings, and so it's going to be different in her mind, the mood and the feel and the vibe. She's going in on these weddings cold, so, you know, she just went for it, and we appreciate any effort towards it. So, yeah.
Time to grade. I'm scared.
All right, so this shot, the reason why I picked this one is one of my most recent weddings that I shot, and on Maui, probably one of the more famous venues, the Olowalu Plantation House. And so when I was collating and I saw this shot, I was like, holy crap, I freaking love this image. I didn't get the image where I took out the log behind her, but anyways. So I what did I use? Oh, so I got a preset from a friend, Tribe Grey Wolf from California, that I met through Twitch. He sent me some presets that he'd been playing with and developing, and I applied it on these images, and I loved how they looked. And so when I saw this, I was like, oh, it's so beautiful. So one thing about your editing style, I remember you told me, is that you try really to play to the strengths of the scene.
Yeah.
And so that was the first thing that I noticed that was, you know, very different. And so I'm going to bring yours up. Here is Charmi's edit. And the colors in it are just very natural versus what I had, which kind of had more of like that warmer muted tone. So let me put ours together and then we'll discuss. I love it. Everyone's just like, I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah. And so this is really cool because for me, being able to see someone else edit, especially someone like you know, being a Nikon ambassador, being renowned for your work and published, I get to look at things, and Elijah says it's a little cloud for me. And so like for my edit,
too.
I didn't, that's not even in mine. I just said F the cloud, you know, forget it. And Charmi brought life. Charmi brought life to it. Honestly, I love how the picture can look so different yet amazing in their own ways. I want to take the greens and the contrast from Aaron's and combine them with Charmi's. Have you ever done something like this before?
Not really.
Re-edit like side by side.
You know what? I did one thing at the beginning of this pandemic where I did like a Zoom where 5 of us were editing the same photo.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us your process into like what you did to the image.
So I used my basic preset. I can't stop seeing that stupid log that's behind her. I wish I had noticed it in my fresh wake up eyesight, but I didn't. But I first toned it using my preset, and then I went in and used a couple of radial what are they called? Eyeglasses? No.
Masks? No, filters?
Yeah. Masks. Sorry. I want to say filter, but it's not really a filter, right? The radial masks to kind of give them a little bit more light without losing the blue sky. I really like the blue sky and I like the blue water, and I really didn't want to lose it. Radial adjustment. God, so rude. My brain is rude, not you guys. You guys are awesome. Yeah, and I wanted to keep like the flowers, and I wanted there to be detail in there, but I wanted to give her a little bit more light. And so it's 2 radial filters, one that was like their whole body and one that was like a little bit closer to her face. I am hesitant to use radial filters and do brush work because I don't like seeing brush work. I think if you can see someone's editing, then they did it wrong. So
using the adjustment brush, get the halo effect around them.
And I was worried that I was getting there with this one, so I like pulled it back a little bit. Anyway, that's really, those are the big 2 things that I did to it, other than toning. Like my whole preset is really the big thing about it is that I completely changed my HSL sliders so that I can like pull different tones.
Beautiful. I'm looking at this and I'm just like, you know, because for me, like my mindset being in the, you know, being like thousands of images deep into this thing already, you know, playing around with a lot of experimentation on images and stuff is not something that like you have the luxury to do on every single image. You're usually just kind of batch editing and going through. But I love the colors. I love the colors that you've done. And my mind is just thinking, you know, what would this look like on the rest of the set? And to see like if I could have delivered that, you know what I mean? And because the vibe that I had was like very sunsetty, very kind of classic and more muted, but I really love the color tones in it. It kind of inspires me to really like, I think maybe next wedding, because I'm gonna shoot a wedding here in a couple weeks at the same spot, so maybe jump to these sunset photos and like play with those kinds of colors and stuff like that. Awesome. All right, so I know you've got a wedding to shoot soon, so I'm gonna try and get through these a little quicker. All right, go ahead.
I have a little bit, so I'm good.
Okay, cool. So this was an engagement shoot that I did way up on the mountains here in Maui. Instead of choosing to do sunset photos, I asked them if they wanted to go into the clouds with me. And so we found clouds and we enveloped ourselves with them. And then for like 5 minutes, the clouds broke and we got this beautiful golden sunlight coming in. So the day was a lot more darker than this. But So that's where the golden light's coming from. I just put them in a bush with some like yellow flowers and stuff. Let me bring on your edit. Yes, put the bee in a bush. That's kind of something that we always like to say. Just put them in a bush, take some photos. They look great. All right, now let's put them together. Ultra high-tech PowerPoint presentation. Again, mine's very warm in that kind of muted stuff, and yours is just very natural. Tell us what you did.
Again, I used my own toning presets for color, and then I played with exposure until I was really happy with this shadow, the shadow under her right eye. Sorry, no, her left eye. That was really the light I was looking to make sure it was perfect, and then turned out everything else worked out well. So no brush work, no nothing here. Just my preset, finding the exposure that made me happy. And then I did, just because we had this conversation about how much I hate Photoshop, I did take it into Photoshop and I just like cleaned up her skin the tiniest bit.
Yeah. I was noticing that, and then I was like, whoa, she really went off with the spot healing tool in Lightroom. Whoa, I didn't know he could do that.
You can though. You can totally do that, but I did take it into Photoshop this time. And just like her forehead a little bit, because I think she has a little bit of tension right between her eyebrows where she looks a little bit stressed, and I just wanted her to look a little bit calmer, because
she looks amazing in yours. She looks amazing. Like, that's one thing after coming to Twitch and meeting, there's a lot of retouches here on Twitch. I'm trying to be more conscientious of treating the skins and going back to these images, especially these ones that are supposed to be the bangers. You know what I mean? Like, these are the ones that I send out right away, like the sneak peeks and stuff like that. And yeah, I need to do that.
His skin definitely has a little bit more red in the shadows than mine. Yeah.
Yeah, his skin was red the whole shoot. And a lot of the images that I edited, I had to use an adjustment brush on his face and just adjust the magenta and the coolness and stuff like that. So no worries. But yeah, this one especially, I did use an adjustment brush on his face to get rid of the reds and stuff like that. But yeah, sweet, awesome. Moving on. So one thing that Charmi said is that landscapes
we're looking at now
aren't too much of a forte, so I had to throw a couple in there. So this first one, I shot this when I was in a helicopter over Wailea here in Maui. Definitely not ugly, not an ugly landscape for sure. So nice. All right, so let me bring on yours. I have a bunch of Visco presets that I bought back in like 2014 that I've been rocking to this day. Like, I just so used to them. So like with this image, I just threw it on, kind of dialed back some things. Let me bring on yours. I like it. Let's put them together real quick. And tell us, what did you do?
I used my toning preset so that the blues were the way I like blues to look, and then that's it. I just played with exposure after that. I just literally wanted to give it punch, and that's it. I'm not a landscape photographer, and for me, when I saw the original, I was like, it could just use some blacks, and then we good. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to throw you too hard of a one with like crazy intense lighting and stuff like that, but
yeah. I think when I'm editing a landscape, I like drama. I think you can see that I like drama.
I love the tones to yours. Whenever I do these, I'm always like, especially when I'm the one kind of not really critiquing, but when I'm the one who sends the raws out and they come back to me with the edits of my photos, the back of my mind is just like, man, I wish I could have done that. you know, but it's good because it's like a good reminder. Reminder to like try this out again. Like I love the way you treated the water, especially like in the shadows in the dark, because that's kind of how the water is. Like in mine, it's just a little bit lifted too much where it looks a little unnatural, especially like the cloud over that big white hotel building. I love the way that you treated the shadows. It looks a bit more natural.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Now,
all right.
Now I know how to edit landscapes, maybe? I don't know.
All right. You see this Nikon? Charmi is moving into a whole new genre, and you can use her to represent landscape. Frick, I'm so sorry. I keep saying Charmi. Charmi. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
The last one.
Okay.
This image was shot back in 2017, and definitely one of my favorites kind of all time. Not only because they're like my best friends, but this is upcountry Maui, and it just had this insanely beautiful sunset. I feel like I didn't have to do much. I did use an adjustment brush on the couple, but those oranges and those tones and stuff were just all there, and then those weeds with those like orange flowers are in the front. It was just such a beautiful moment. Let's bring on your edit and tell us, what did you do?
Oh, there it is. Same with my preset to get the colors that I wanted, like as the base. And then I did two things. I used a radial adjustment on them, just to bring them up a little bit. And then I did use a linear adjustment just to bring down the sky a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I like for everything, I like for colors to pop, but it's actually, I say I like colors to pop, but I'm always concerned when I say that because sometimes when you say you like colors to pop, if you're not careful, your photos will go straight neon. So I try to walk the line of like no neon.
No neon. I love it. I love it. I like how you've really brightened up the couple too. A lot.
I think ours are more similar than different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vibrance, not saturation.
Yes.
Well, what did you think? Did you like doing this? Well,
yeah, it was fun.
Cool experience.
As long as I only have to do 4 of somebody else's photos, it's fun.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, this is nearing the end of our time here.
Well, thanks for having me.
I'm like just so over the moon for having you on, and we went through so much. I wish we could, I feel like we could like hang out for like another hour at least or so. There's like so much to talk about and like ask, and I know everyone has a bunch of questions for you.
I will come back another time when I don't have to shoot a wedding. And I also have to film something today. So
Ooh, you guys heard that? She's coming back. One of these days, we'll get her back here.
They're all very sweet. They're so encouraging. You guys want to come to weddings with me so you can be like just my hype crew? It'd be good.
Yeah, it'd be so sick. Guys, you can find her website, her Instagram there, and also the Nikon blurb. She does workshops and she does mentoring. And if you guys are interested in that, definitely check out her website. I know she charges for mentoring, but I think it's free to send an email. So just say hello, just say, hi, I'm Deeps. I was here during the Academy's interview. I just want to say thank you for coming on. And I'm saving up my pennies so that I can do an hour mentorship with you or something like that. Or if you're on the East Coast, you guys can hook up with her, connect with her, and do a workshop with her when she gets those rolling again. Did you want to kind of say something about that really quick?
I tried to do off-camera workshops and then just like full wedding workshops, but those are kind of on hold right now until it's safe again. I'm not really going to be doing a whole lot until it's safe again. I am doing the summit workshops. There's a big woman-led panel that we're having. It's on November 18th at 8 p.m. I don't have any links or anything for anyone, but the workshop, they're called the Summit Workshops, and I'll be on November 18th at 8 p.m. as part of a panel.
Okay, awesome. Guys, go follow her. Go save her website, bookmark her, put it on your toolbar, put it on your home screen even, all right? So that Charmi is just with you everywhere you go. Awesome. Well, any last words? I'm going to throw you up on the big screen so you can greet everybody and say goodbye, and then everyone can just show mad love to you.
I don't know. I'm so bad at this kind of stuff. So much for having me and being so encouraging and so much fun. I am happy to come back, and we'll do this again, and I'll answer more questions, and maybe, you know, you see the doll, where is it? Is it on that side? The It's Fine doll might not have a job anymore. It'll be great. I will see you guys soon. Thank you.
Yay. Bye, Charmi. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you. Chat, how was that? Was that good? Do you guys want her back? She's so nice, super sweet. Man, we barely scratched the surface, I feel, with her expertise and what she does. She's so cute. You miss her already. Oh man. Well, please guys, go show her some love. Go follow her on Instagram. If you guys, I'm really encouraging you guys, definitely reach out to her. Were you guys inspired? Linus was like, are you convincing me to get to switch to Nikon? So funny.